Hey, yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. I like the dog in the background.
Yes, my dog Tessa. She definitely wants to be involved with everything.
She seems pretty cute, but well, she just disappeared too. She behind you or something?
She's behind me, and you can probably partially see the. So I'm gonna move this over a little bit.
Oh, it's fine by me.
So the past few days, I have had my wife, my daughter, my dog all down in my basement office because I haven't been able to go into work.
hmm
So you could kind of see the pack and play where my daughter will play and nap. She's only 11 months old, so it's a little crammed down in the basement, but it's nice.
It seems pretty cool to be honest. Have you seen Judge's basement on the conference call he had yesterday?
The giant? No, I have not.
Very similar setup to yours, to be honest. His dog was next to him too. Everybody was joking about how, oh man, that dog knows more about our draft plans than anybody else. Because he's like the dog is down there with him like all day.
I was just about to say, I can't imagine that he doesn't know more than everybody else. He's been on up probably all the calls with Gettleman and everything.
Exactly. So how you been, man? How's everything?
Everything's been going well. I've been keeping busy. I did a collab with Play to Win Fantasy last week.
hmm
And then I did a video of my own. I did a collab with you twice. So I've been keeping busy. Did a decent amount of research for this Giants mock draft. I actually watched 4 of your videos in preparation. I watched your 3 mock drafts in the video you posted yesterday, I believe, or maybe it was today. The one with you did a collab recently. He was talking about big defensive minded guy, Bad Dog.
Bad dog. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I
watched
posted
that.
that today.
He was talking about how he's really pulling for Isaiah Simmons.
hmm
I think a
Which,
lot of people are pulling for
yeah,
him.
I was about to say, I'm surprised by the amount of people that are. I think most of the fan base is pro Isaiah Simmons.
Well, if you ask me, I mean, when somebody comes in and their player comparison is Brian Urlacher,
Can't blame him.
yeah, who for early 2000s, it was between him and Ray Lewis as the best middle linebacker in the league. I was just looking the other day as I was doing the research. Brian Urlacher was 4-time first team All Pro, 1-time second team, and 11-time Pro Bowler.
I mean, Urlacher, without a doubt, is probably going to go into the Hall of
First
Fame.
team All Pro. Yeah, yeah, he's a stud. But what I wanted to do was I was hoping we could do a couple rounds here, then do a couple rounds next week on your channel. And I had a crazy idea that I'd like to start off with, which is like my dream selection for the Giants.
If you want to start off with that, sure. I mean, I was thinking, when you say a couple rounds, you mean like a couple round mock draft, like you were saying you don't want to do 7 rounds? Because I do agree with you. After a certain amount of rounds, it just turns into taking flyers on players. So I give you like that. Like we do one where it's like maybe one where we take Simmons on yours, or one where we take an offensive tackle on yours, and then the other on mine.
Sure, we could do that. Yeah, that works because the 7th. Yeah, by the time you get to the 7th round, where Giants got 4 picks, they're no longer drafting for need. They're just seeing who's available and who to take. And I don't know about you, but doing the mock draft, like you get a bunch of people, you think, oh, the Giants could use these guys. Then you look and you see like 7 or 8 different spots. If you look at 7 or 8 different drafts from like the middle of the 2nd to the end of the 3rd round, by the time you're getting to the 7th, you don't even know who's going to be available. I don't feel like there's any actual research or skill involved. It's just straight up like, well, I like this guy, and people are saying he'll be around in the 7th round, so maybe the Giants will take him.
I completely agree with you. I mean, like you said you saw my 3 mocks. I'm pretty sure I said maybe in all of them, like, yo, you know what, it's the 7th round. I'm not even sure what's going to happen here. I know I definitely said it in the last one where I just left it like blank because I'm like, you guys mock it yourself. It's like so late. And at this point, just go for depth.
Yeah, I think the first one you only did 1 pick, and you're like, I'm going to take this receiver that people are saying could fall to the 7th round because he was real tall. And that was like, it was like, okay, all right. And you're like, so he'll be a good guy in the red zone. Can't even remember who it was, but I remember listening to that and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
once
that's
you get to
what's
like,
happening.
I think the most realistic rounds you can mock are like 1 to 3, maybe 4, but I think it's 1 to 3, and then after 5 is just like, yeah, you're taking a flyer.
So then let's do the like my perfect, if a crazy trade, I want to throw this out there. I don't think this will happen, but it's something I feel like there's a slight chance that it could happen. And let's try to do at least 3, maybe 4 or 5, see how much time we got. And then we can go on and do, like you said, 4 or 5 rounds on your channel next week. Because after that, it's a lot of guesswork. In the research I did, I picked up to the 5th round so far. So I've got who I think they'll take through the first 5. I have pretty good confidence that the guys will be available and that they're guys the Giants want. But like I'll just give away my 2nd round pick right now. Trayvon Diggs was my 2nd round pick. I saw him going as high as 16th and as low as like 90th.
Yeah.
So is he going to be available at 36? I think so.
Oh, no, I'll tell you right now, Trayvon Diggs is definitely going to be available at 36 because at cornerback, he's probably like 3rd, 4th best. And I don't, just in the way I see teams valuing cornerback this year, I don't see the first one going until the 2nd round. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, so I thought he was definitely going to be available, but you know, that was one where I saw a couple, I think 1 or 2 mock drafts had him going before 36, like 3 or 4 had him going after. So I'm like, all right, so more than likely he's going to be available.
All right. Before we get too deep into it, because we're probably going to talk all over what we're supposed to say during the actual thing. How are we doing it exactly? Are we doing it with Draft Network, or how are we working this out?
What do you mean by?
Like, are we going to be using a mock draft simulator, or are we just going like, all right, round 1, pick 4, who you got?
I was just going to do round 1, pick 4, who you got.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry. I mean, if we want to do a mock draft simulator on your page, we definitely can. I just kind of researched like, hey, this is who I think the Giants should take with their picks. So I'll start off. I'm like, in the perfect world, I think the Giants should trade back. I think that's because Isaiah Simmons is the best available guy at 4. Everyone thinks he's going to be available. I don't think it makes sense for the Giants to take him just because of how much we've invested in the offense the last few years.
Yeah.
That it's almost like Gettleman throws out the last 2 years of work, taking, Barkley and Jones. He doesn't fit what we did in the free agency either. We went and we got 2 linebackers. I got to believe we got those guys for a reason because Gettleman believes they're going to pan out. So I was looking. There's some talks that they have a strong linebacker crew, but there's a slight chance they're saying that the 49ers could take a linebacker in the 1st or 2nd round.
I think there's a couple teams who could take a linebacker in the 1st round. Like the Raiders, I think, might take a linebacker. But in general, for the Giants, I agree with you. While Simmons is without a doubt the best player available, just following the path of what they did in free agency and how they went mostly defense in last year's draft, I just don't see them going Simmons. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they go Simmons because he feels the need of coverage linebacker, but we can get a coverage linebacker later on,
Yeah. And that's why I think what I was saying, like the 49ers, they're saying they could. I think that the Giants, if they could trade back with the 49ers and get the 13th and 31st pick for that 4th pick, because I think Simmons is worth that. Every projection has him, like I said, being a more athletic Brian Urlacher. Like he looks like a lock stud. Plug him in anywhere on any defense and he improves it. So
are you saying that Simmons would fall to 13?
I'm saying that the 49ers, I'm saying in this perfect scenario that's probably not going to happen, the 49ers trade their 13th pick and their 31st pick for the Giants' 4th pick.
I'm gonna need something more than that. Maybe like an additional 2nd or something. Because we are dropping back all the way to 13. That's a big drop.
Maybe they could, but that was the scenario that I had played out in my head. And with that, the Giants take I think it's Mekhi
Becton.
Yeah, take him with the 13th pick. I know Giants fans are a little scared. He is not another Eric Flowers. He had a much better draft grade. He's a 6.74 compared to Flowers' 6.14. His question marks aren't in ability. It's in a little bit of discipline. He kind of gets a little overweight. They says he takes the offseason not as serious, but he knows how to block. He knows how to play. He's a massive guy. 6'7"?
And like 365 right? Or something.
Yeah. So he's great. And then the Giants would also have the 31st pick, and I think they take Cesar Ruiz, who's the number one center. And I believe in the perfect world, if they could have that happen, we all of a sudden go from a below average line to a average to slightly above average line, because now you can have Soldier getting help. We got Nick Gates playing at right guard. I think it just really shores up the offensive line, who is 2 to 3 spots away, depending on whether or not you believe Nate Soldier can return to form. Because we've got good guards. We don't have the center. We don't have the other tackle. What do you think about that?
You had me until you said Nick Gates at right guard. So are we letting go of Kevin Zeitler or anything?
No, I'm sorry. We'd move him to probably left guard then.
Will Hernandez is at left guard.
What, didn't he play guard a little bit this year though?
Who?
Gates.
Gates came in towards the end of the season to play right tackle for us.
To play right tackle. All right, then maybe we have Gates. Maybe we put Gates in
this situation. I just see him staying as a backup tackle because we got starters at every position in this situation. But in general, I like it. Right, I've been one of the guys saying I don't want Becton at 4, but at 13 for sure. He's still one of the top offensive linemen in the draft, and I think he's going to be a great value at 13th overall. I am one of them who are concerned about his weight issues. I don't say he's Eric Flowers, but you got me right there. I'm concerned about his weight. I'm concerned about if he's going to be able to keep it under control, because it's really hard to keep it under control at that size. And I have seen the reports saying that, in the offseason, he can be a bit slippery, doesn't take it too seriously. But once again, the context, 13th overall, a great value. And we have a coaching staff that I'm sure would be able to discipline him, right? Ruiz at 31, I hope he drops to 31. I have seen a couple mocks saying he goes in like the mid-20s. But at 31 for the best center in the class, absolutely the best deal right there. And completely agree with you. I've been saying, I haven't been saying it for a while, but within the past week or so, I've been saying that I really believe the Giants' offensive line is better than people think, and that we're only 2 positions away, that being one of the tackles and center. And I say one of the tackles because it does depend on how good Solder is this year at left tackle. But with a Mekhi Becton, I can see us it would be really hard for them to put him at right tackle at his size, but it's not out of the question. So I could see him playing right tackle for his rookie year to ease that transition from college to the NFL, and then them sliding him to left tackle next year when Solder's off. And then maybe Nick Gates comes on as a starting right tackle because he's had an extra year to sit behind everybody.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening, and then our offensive line is up and running.
That's perfect. And I saw the 2 spots I keep seeing Ruiz at was the Bengals with 26 or the Chiefs with 32. So in this imaginary world, he would have been going to the Chiefs had the Giants not made the trade.
Yeah, exactly. And Ruiz, without a doubt, best center in the class. Who you got for us going in second round?
All right. So that was my imaginary thing. But yeah, if that happens, I would take Trayvon Diggs in the second round. I love that he's a former wideout. I love that he played in Alabama, the SEC, which I think is the best division in college football. So he's played against NFL caliber players. He's athletic. He is not going to come in right away and be a number 1, but I think that we got Bradbury, who can be our number 1. So we don't need Diggs to come in and be our number 1 right off the bat. So I think he's his athleticism and his upside negates the fact that it might take him a couple of games to really pick up the pro defense, because he, like I said, played receiver before and stuff like that. That's the only fears about him, is that he doesn't have the as much game film as some of the other guys. But the talent, athleticism, speed, highly regarded coming out of high school. He's Stephon Diggs' younger brother. I think he could be a real big asset.
Just correct me if I'm wrong. He's is he a slot corner or a outside corner?
Trayvon Diggs, and I'm going to have to double check. I think that he played primarily slot, and that's part of the reasons why they're saying he's sliding a little bit. Mm-hmm. But he, from what I was reading, is that he has moved around and played a bunch of different spots. So the big fear is he has played primarily slot.
With 6 grams of natural protein, there's nothing you and almonds can't.
That ad just went. He has played primarily slot because he didn't become a corner until his second year. So he came on as a receiver. He didn't really play much as a freshman. His sophomore year, he played a little bit at corner, and it wasn't really until the end of his senior year that he was really truly on the field all the time. So it's a lot of draft based on upside.
Okay, so I got a couple reasons why I'm not really on board with the Diggs pick at second overall, because I feel like after you go, offensive line twice, you might want to address the next biggest need. And the next biggest need, in my opinion, would be either edge or linebacker. You got guys down there who might be available. Like I've seen Patrick Queen slipping a little bit into the second round. If he does, maybe take him. He's the third best linebacker in this class, but second best coverage linebacker. You've got guys on the edge like a Zach Bond, who's somebody I really like. AJ Epineza, I fully expect to be in the second round because he's just slipped a lot. Terrell Lewis, and maybe even a Julian Okwara. So I would personally go with one of those needs a bit more, because there are people who would be in that second round to fill it. And also, you're bringing in Diggs. It's just like, who does he replace at that point? We got James Bradbury as our cornerback number 1, and we're still grooming DeAndre Baker to be that cornerback number 1 eventually. He's going to be a cornerback number 2. So do you take him just to slide him in there into the slot? You know what I mean? We do have some things working out there on the cornerback spot.
That's a good point. I think I took him largely off of the talent and player comparisons. He played outside near the end. He played, the player comparison that they've been putting on him is like Richard Sherman. So I think I just kind of fell in love with his talent, and the fact that we do need a corner, and the fact that he offers such upside.
I think we need a slot corner. In terms of outside, we're fine, right? Because Bradbury, like I said, he's not like he's borderline number 1, right? And he can be a true number 1. And I do have faith in Baker developing this year, because he'll be under Bradbury. So we need a slot corner, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've done my first 2. Who would be your first 2 picks?
In this situation, let me go with this situation just because it's fun. In the situation where we trade down with Frisco and we get 13 and 31, at 13th, I'm probably going to go – Mekhi Becton might be available there, but it's the weird thing with the offensive linemen, right? You've seen all 4 of them going all over the place. So there's – I have no idea, but I'll go Andrew Thomas just because he's been slipping a bit, and I've said I don't know why he's been slipping. And the reason I'm going Thomas is because he's my favorite out of all 4 of the offensive linemen, even though he's been slipping. I think he's the one with the most experience out of all 4 of them playing at tackle position, and he's the most well-rounded. Like, the best one is Wills because of his technical ability, but Thomas, because of how well-rounded he is, I think would be better for a run-first team. And at 31st, you're really tempting me with Cesar Ruiz there. I would really like to go Cesar Ruiz. The question is, does he get there? But I'm also thinking about who else would I go, right? Like, I would want to go edge or inside linebacker.
Yeah.
So you know what? Yeah, in this case, I'd probably go defense at 31, and I'll take Patrick Queen, who once again I've seen slipping because of his coverage ability. And then we fill two needs. And then at 36th, I'm probably going with Lloyd Cushenberry because I think Cesar Ruiz is gone. So then I get my center at 36 with the second best center in the class and Lloyd Cushenberry. That's probably how I'd go.
And you don't think that's a bit of a reach with Lloyd?
Lloyd, I will tell you this, right? I've seen where he's been going. I think he's been going like somewhere from the 40s to the 60s. I really don't, because I've also seen Tyler Biadasz being mocked like in the 90s and 100s, and Tyler Biadasz is certainly better than that. So I think maybe overall, when you compare them with every other player, it might be a reach, but at the position, I don't think so. Because then our next chance, if I ignore center at 36, we're not picking it until 99. And I don't think Biadasz would make there. I don't think Cushenberry would be there. I'd rather take him now. It might be a little bit of a reach, but I'd rather reach now.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing too, is I'm not gonna lie, I killed the Giants with Daniel Jones. I thought that was a bit of a reach, and I'm been fairly happy with it. And if he's the guy you want and you don't think he's going to be available at 99, then reach a little bit. He's who you want. Don't take somebody you don't feel like fits the system just because
they're like their value is better or something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
So at 99, where are you going?
So 99, I was looking at Daryl Taylor.
Out of Tennessee.
Yep. Once again, plays for the SEC, which I love. A really high draft grade at 6.19 on the NFL draft rating to still be available in the third round. But a lot of people have him still available in the third round.
Daryl Taylor is somebody I really like because I think the Giants' strength and conditioning coach is from Tennessee, or it might be a linebackers coach. One out of the two is from Tennessee. Either way, a coach that's had a lot of experience with Daryl Taylor. And he's somebody with a good amount of upside. Like, I think where he's being mocked is kind of perfect because we're not sure how he's going to translate to the NFL. Like, I think he has a lot of good potential, and he has I like the way he plays. So I like that pick. There's nothing really to not like about that pick. There's the coaching connection. There's how he performed in college and the potential. I like Daryl Taylor at 99.
All right. So I think, and like I said, he had 16 and a half sacks the last two seasons. I just really think he'd be a great pickup if he's around come that point, which it looks like he's going to be, which seems amazing to me. I'm sorry, it keeps playing music in the background. Can you hear that?
I heard like the first one. I didn't really hear the last two. Maybe the recording picked it up though, but I didn't hear it.
All right, good. So I just think that he's the pick there. The talent's there, everything's there. Who do you think you'd want the Giants to take in the third round?
So I went Thomas, Queen, Cushenberry. At this point, if there's Thomas, Queen, Cushenberry. So offensive line is fixed. Inside linebacker, I think, is good for now. I would also probably be looking edge or safety, right?
Yeah.
So around third round, edge. Yeah, there's guys, like you said, there's Daryl Taylor there. I think there's going to be Bradley Anae there, Alex Highsmith. So those would be the three guys I'm looking at. And then at safety, I'm not sure, to be honest. Maybe it would be too early, in my opinion, to take a Jeremy Chin, who has been rising on draft boards and is one of my favorite safeties, but I really think he's more of a fourth-round prospect. Then again, at 99, it's very close to the fourth round, so who knows?
Yep. It is the fourth round.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would honestly either be looking at Jeremy Chin or Daryl Taylor and Bradley Anae. So, you know what? Let me go Chin. Let me go safety, just because I feel like it's a position, free safety right now, that's kind of being underlooked. And in this scenario, I would put Chin at free safety and slide Julian Love into the slot corner role, so kind of hit two birds with one stone. It really does hurt me that I didn't go edge, but just because I can fulfill two positions with one pick, I'm going to go safety and Jeremy Chin.
All right, I like the pick. I'm going here now, coming out into, so we're now around 4, and I think that with my 4th round pick, I would like if we got Malik Harrison from Ohio State.
Oh yeah, I liked Harrison. I think I had him in my top 5 linebackers list.
Walter Football's got him at number 5. The NFL Draft Combine, they got him at a really good prospect grade here, at 6.34. He's athletic. He's coming from a very good school for linebackers and defensive players as of late in Ohio State. He's a senior. He's got a decent amount of game tape on him, decent amount of time starting. He really has no weaknesses that they're really pointing out. So I feel like the big thing's got to be with him is just that they said he sometimes lacks the lateral movement and his instincts are a little bit poor for middle linebacker, but he's going to be playing with a Blake Martinez who's known for having great instincts.
Yeah. And also Malik Harrison he's also known for like being a good coverage linebacker too. So it does fulfill a need.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I do like that, when considering the picks you went beforehand. The question is though, do you think Harrison slips into the 4th round?
So I'm seeing him going somewhere in between 3 to 5. What you got to remember is we've got the 4th pick in the 4th round, so it's not a huge slip for him to go from the middle tail end of the 3rd round to end up being a top 4 pick in the 4th round. So I think there's a chance we get him. That's why it's so hard when you're doing this, because he's projected the number 5 inside linebacker. How many teams go inside linebacker? I'm looking at a lot of drafts where you're seeing a lot of linemen going early. You're not seeing the defensive players go until later. So I'm just kind of hoping that he's still there. It's a lot of guesswork. But no, on a handful of draft boards that I've been seeing, he is still available.
Okay.
I don't think it's outrageous.
No, I agree with you because same thing here, right? I've seen him going, tail end of the 3rd, so it's not outrageous that he could slip into the very beginning of the 4th. And I like Harrison. I wonder the same thing. I'm wondering how many teams would be good at going middle linebacker this year. But Harrison, yeah, like I said, he is my number 5 safety in the class. So not safety, linebacker in the class. I said safety because I was thinking about his coverage skills. But yeah, so 4th here, this is where I would go edge, right? Because I went safety last time. So this is where I'd go Bradley Anae, who's similar to Harrison, might not make it to the 4th round, but it's not out of the question that he could slip into the 4th round, right? It's a very similar situation as to where they would go. And Anae is somebody I like very much because of his attitude. When you watch this guy's tape, not even just the highlights, just his tape, the way he goes after the quarterback is amazing. He looks like he wants to kill the dudes out there. And I love that in an edge rusher because we've kind of been missing that aggressiveness on the field. And he does have production to back it up. So Bradley Anae in the 4th is where I would go.
And I've seen him on a handful of mock drafts, actually. I think CBS is the one I'm looking at right now that has him going in the 4th round to the Giants. So
modernization today.
So it's definitely possible.
Workplace of today. Tomorrow.
So yeah, it's definitely possible that he's still there. And like I said, that's what makes it so hard to project mock drafts. And do you do fantasy football at all?
Yeah, I usually draft my fantasy football team like in the summer, honestly, July. Yeah.
But so like what I always say is people ask me like, how early do I take like a quarterback?
I usually go like my quarterback's 4th or 5th.
So I always say that it depends on when quarterbacks start coming off the board, because there's usually a solid 5 to 8 quarterbacks that you can really count on, and you only play one quarterback. But if a quarterback is taken in like the 3rd round, all of a sudden I'm now looking at taking a quarterback in the 4th or 5th. If no quarterback gets taken to like the 5th round, I might go the 8th or 9th round before I take a quarterback. And I think that's kind of what's happening here when we're looking at like some of these guys. It all depends on what happens ahead. You know, if a couple of teams have already taken middle linebackers by like the 2nd round, if 2 or 3 of them are off the board by halfway through the 2nd round, Malik Harrison is definitely going 3rd round. He doesn't fall to the Giants, no doubt.
But I agree with you. You can say that for literally any player in any position.
Yeah, so it has a lot to do with what the teams ahead of you do. So that always plays into it, and that's why it's a difficult thing to do, the mock drafts. All right. So my 5th pick, and this is as far as I researched. I didn't. We were originally going to do it on Friday, so I thought I was going to have a little bit more time tonight. So this is kind of where we're going to. That's all right. It's not your fault. It's working out perfectly. I think it's going well. I like Michael Divinity.
Edge, right? He's edge or linebacker. What is he?
He's an outside linebacker, but
linebacker,
he blitz a little bit too. He comes from LSU. I think that maybe this is just part of me. Lots of times what I do when I'm trying to mock draft for college is I look at if the programs have turned out a lot of good players. Like, I don't know if you remember the late 90s, early 2000s. Miami University repeatedly turned out great running backs, tight ends, some solid defensive players. So you kept going back there. Texas, for a while, the Giants used to draft a lot of Texas guys. LSU has been producing high-end talent on both sides of the football. They just won a national championship. So when I get to like these later rounds, I like to kind of look at who's a solid guy from a good conference that's still available. And the only reason why a lot of people are saying too that Divinity could be available is because he had some drug test problems. He missed some games. The guy's very talented. He started 11 to 12 games in 2018, and then he had eligibility problems for failed drug tests in 2019. So you're taking a guy who maybe isn't the character you'd want, but the talent is there. The talent, if he did not have those problems, he would be going a lot higher. And a lot of people are saying that a lot higher than the 5th round. So I'm thinking we got some linebackers in the free agency. We're going to pick up Darrell Taylor in my fake mock draft right here to help more with the edge. Why not pick up a great talent that fell 2 or 3 rounds because he's a bonehead and hope that with our coaching staff and things like that, that he could really grow into the player he's got the potential to be.
I agree with you. Divinity, when I was first doing research for mock drafts, I was surprised at how low he was going because just watching the national championship, right? Like, I don't watch college football, but, I watch tape when I need to. Watching the national championship, which comes on every year, and seeing how he played there, and, he didn't have the best game, but you could just tell by his instincts and talent that this guy was going to be, a good linebacker in the NFL, or at least that's what you would think, right? So when you see him being mocked, and I think he's being mocked anywhere from the 5th to the 7th rounds, you're surprised, but it's the character issues. I agree with you. If it wasn't for that, Divinity is probably going in the 2nd or 3rd round, to be honest with you. So to just take him when he falls to you, and he does come in and put in a need if the linebacker that you took beforehand, Harrison, doesn't fill that need, why not? Or maybe even he comes in and he replaces a guy like Mayo or something. Why not? So, like, in the 5th round here, I'm going offense again. Like, the 6th and 7th rounds is where I'd start double dipping, where I'd start getting another offensive tackle, another edge, another linebacker. But in this 5th round, I'm going to go offense, and I'm going to go with a wide receiver. Because I think if they do take a wide receiver, they should do it anywhere from the 4th to the 6th and get another Darius Slayton type player who went late, but Gettleman saw that he has the potential to be great. And we have a great wide receivers coach that coached up Slayton and, work on him. Get a similar type player, right? Get somebody that's going to go later in the draft that could come in and help, and the wide receiver coach could work with. And the person I'm looking at in the 5th round in this scenario would be Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. Very tall and pretty good speed receiver, 6'4", 222. A nice big target for DJ, which is something we've wanted for a long time, going back to even Eli. We haven't had a big target for any of our quarterbacks in a while. And Gandy Golden is somebody else who's been kind of all over the place in terms of where he's going from like the 3rd to the 5th. Here, why not? Let's pretend he slips into the 5th round, and I think he would be an absolute steal at that position.
I've seen some mock drafts that have had the Giants taking him in the 4th and in the 5th round. I love that because Golden Tate isn't the answer. He's got 1 or 2 years left on his contract. He's 31 years old. He was a stopgap for the Giants, right? So why not pick up a talented? I think the thing that's the reason why Gandy is dropping is because Gandy Golden's dropping is because he played in Liberty, so you're not sure who he's really faced. So why not take a athletic, probably a little bit of a project to get up to the NFL speed guy that can replace Golden Tate in a year or two, be our big receiver. We can keep Slayton or Shepard, however we want to do it, in the slot, and that would be a really strong trio of wide receivers. And the way the NFL is moving, they don't run too many double tight ends. So you need to have 3 receivers that can be on the field 60, 70% of the time, or you're in trouble.
Exactly. And I would go Slayton and Golden on the outside, Shepard on the inside where Shepard does his damage. And he doesn't even need to be a number 1 receiver. I mean, coming at the 5th round, it's not what you're expecting, but it's not out of the question. I mean, last year we did the same thing. We took a freak athlete in the 6th with Darius Slayton, or was it the 5th also? And he turned out to be, he looks like he has number 1 potential. He's certainly a number 2 wide receiver. So who knows how that develops, but Gandy Golden doesn't need to be a number 1. We could have just a trio of good wide receivers that Garrett could work with the offense.
For years until they had got Michael Thomas, the Saints offense was great without a true number 1. They just started out with 3 or 4 very good receivers, and Drew Brees just went out there and slinged it. He threw it all over the field. So I like that pick a lot. Like I said, I didn't really look too much at the 6th or 7th.
Yeah, we could just skip those. It's fine.
And it becomes a crapshoot. Like we're saying, we're looking at Gandy Golden, and he's a very talented guy, but he played at Liberty, so people don't know. We don't know. He could go 4th. He could go 6th. He could go 7th. The first couple of rounds, you kind of have a general idea what's going to happen, but after that, like we said, it kind of see where the dominoes fall. See how everybody else plays out.
I completely agree with you. And like at that point, just start taking for depth. Just start taking for depth.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, I think we're good. If you want to do your outro.
The outro?
Yeah. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where we can find you, how we're going to do an even better one of this next week on your channel.
I don't know if it's going to be that much better. The only difference would probably be the mock draft simulator on NFL, not NFL, on the Draft Network. I'm just probably going to be screen recording that and then putting it up as we make our picks. But yeah, so I guess I'll do the outro now. So thank you, Dan, once again for having me on, man. I mean, it's been great as usual. We've spoken about it, on Twitter, in the Twitter DMs, maybe making this like a bi-monthly thing. I would be completely down for that, because every time we get together, and we have a chat. It's really great. I'm sure the fans love it too.
I
mean, yeah, I know, right? It's just fun. I mean, I can't wait for the draft. Just got to get that out there. It's next week. It's crazy that it's only like a week from today, and at this point, all we're doing is speculation, which is fun, but at the same time, is driving me crazy. I'm like, I can't just wait for the real thing to get here and to see what happens. But yeah, man, thank you for having me on. You guys could find me at the Hub on YouTube, the Hub YTI Twitter, and I think the Hub _ YouTube on Instagram. Dan usually does the kindness and puts it all in the description anyway. And make sure you guys sub him up too. If any of my subscribers are over here checking it out, sub up Dan, sub up 5 Wide Football. They're going to have everything you need for your fantasy football needs. And as you can tell, some draft stuff too. So that's about it.
Yeah. And I don't think I have any subscribers that aren't subscribed to the Hub yet. I've got a very small subscriber list, but he puts out very, very high quality, very in-depth Giants knowledge. He's been getting on a lot of the top giant bloggers, YouTubers, podcasters out there in the field. I mean, he's had guys that have been around for years showing up on his channel recently. Really,
say my favorite one was getting license plate guy on here just a couple days ago.
Yeah, I saw that one. I got to listen to that. And he puts it out so quick that like it's almost hard to keep up with, with how quickly you're putting stuff out there. And for anyone who doesn't know, License Plate Guy has a massive following. So that's a hell of a thing to get him on there. I just pulled up. He's got 23,500 Twitter followers, and he's taken the time to talk with noname at the Hub because he knows his stuff. You really do. When it comes to Giants, you know a ton. When it comes to football, you know a good amount as well. I mean, I'm throwing out prospects on this mock draft, and you know exactly who I'm talking about right away. Like, you've already done all the research for a number of guys. You know where guys are falling, whether or not guys have a chance. So anybody, if you got a question about what's going on with the Giants, what the Giants are going to do, listen to the Hub. DM him on Twitter. Message him on his.
Oh, yeah. I respond to all of my DMs, by the way. I always put that out there for anybody. I'm like, I'm always down to talk.
Yeah. And even if like you're sitting here and you're thinking, you know, from a fantasy perspective, and you're sitting and you're going, man, is Slayton going to get the targets this year with, with Tate and Shepard being back and question on Evan Ingram? You can ask the Hub. He knows enough about the Giants to where he can tell you this is the role Slayton's going to play. Like he said, Slayton's going to be the outside guy because they're going to put Shepard into the slot. He knows that. It's almost like having an assistant Giants coach to talk to with the amount of knowledge he's got there.
Thank you, man. You're making me sound like a god.
Well, I feel like I got to prepare a lot to keep up with you whenever I'm talking with you. So, and then from me, I've got 5 Wide Football. Me and my buddies, we started last Sunday, and then we're going to be posting another video this Sunday. We just go on, we debate fantasy sports. We are fantasy football primarily. We do top ratings, everything you need to know about running backs, receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, where people are going. We do mock drafts. I bring on a lot of the top minds on Twitter. I had Nick from Play to Win last week. I'm been contacting some other guys. Hopefully I can get on some of those big names after I spit out a few more videos and people start respecting me out there.
Don't forget the website. Oh,
yeah. 5widefootball.com. That's my blog. And then my Twitter is at 5widefootball. It's all there. So just like, follow, subscribe, tell everybody about it.
Yeah, man. Make sure you check him out. You're going to need him when fantasy football season comes around. I know I'm going to be hitting him up when I'm going to start my drafts in like July or it's usually July when I start because that's when the apps even open it up to allow you to draft.
Yeah, a lot of apps you can't. That was the funny part is like people were calling out on my I do a daily Twitter poll, and people are calling out my average ADP for guys, and I'm like, dude, there's no apps that are even open right now. People are like, there's no way he's going that round. I'm like, I have to go based on what the internet is estimating, because Yahoo, ESPN, they
And
have
even the NFL one.
Yeah, the only app I believe you can do mock drafts for right now is Sleeper.
Okay, I don't even know which one that is. The ones that I usually run three of them. I got Yahoo Sports, the official NFL one, and the ESPN one. And the reason I picked up the ESPN one because I think it's like a 4-sport in one fantasy. They got like football, basketball, baseball, and hockey on there.
Sleeper is a newer one. If you listen to Fantasy Footballers, Sleeper sponsors like every one of their podcasts, and it's really helped them grow. They're a really good app, but I don't think that they're 100% free. I think that they start off, they offer like a third of what they have for free, and then they try to upsell you. It's a great app if you're very serious.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not serious, it's just going to spam you with notifications that you don't really care about, and it's going to try to upsell you.
Okay. Well, I am a little bit more on the casual side, so I think I'll probably stick to like Yahoo and stuff.
Yahoo's great. I love Yahoo Fantasy Football. I've been doing Yahoo since 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you next week and calling it a night.
All right, man. Same thing. Have a good one.
All right. Talk to you later.